Hello, everyone. We would like to thank you for joining today's session. Welcome to the webinar on the CBAM Transitional Registry usage. Today's webinar is the third one on the CBAM Transitional Registry. This event is organized by the Directorate General Taxation and Customs Union, DigiTaxud of the European Commission. My name is Maria Piperia, and I'm part of the ITSM 3TES CBAM team. Today, we are going to present to you how to declare the emissions for the sectors of electricity and fertilizers. Also, we will organize one more webinar for the rest two sectors, hydrogen and iron and steel. Next slide, please. I would like to mention that there are many participants in this meeting, so please let me quickly introduce a few rules about this webinar. Please make sure that you appear in Zoom with your name and affiliation. Also, please make sure, in case of no audio, that you use the join audio function. As you can see on the screen here, we have some instructions on how you can rename yourself. For example, you can click on the participants icon in the Zoom toolbar, and in the participants window next to your name, you can click on more and choose rename option. Then you can enter your name, and you can this will be saved automatically. So you can instruct these steps that you can see on your screen now. This is useful for us when addressing questions raised by you. Next slide, please. Now let's move on to the next slide, and we will see some more details about the housekeeping rules. I would like to mention that all participants are already muted, and they will remain muted during the presentation to avoid the interruption of the demonstration. Please note that we are recording this webinar and that we are not allowed to record it yourselves. Please feel free to write your questions in the chat. The chat is available for all participants, and questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. Also, I would like to mention that we will respond only in technical questions, so please keep in mind that when you raise the question. After the session, a survey will be shown on your screen. It's only 4 questions, and you need less than 2 minutes to respond it. Your feedback is very valuable for us to know what is important for you and in which areas you want us to focus. So please remember to provide a response. Finally, the presentation will be uploaded on the DigiTaxud CBAM webpage, and you can easily download it. Next slide, please. In this slide, as you can see, there are some useful information sources, and this information may be helpful for future reference. So, first of all, as we mentioned in the previous session, the CBAM Transitional Registry User Manual for Declarants has been published to the Europa site. So, please feel free to download it from the Europa site and try to understand better the CBAM technical background. At this point, we strongly recommend you to study the user manual and try to be in contact with your country NCA to request access to the CBAM conformance environment. And as you can see here, we have also available the screenshot of the Europa site in order for you to easily find it. Also, we have collected and categorized all the questions that raised by you in the chat during the previous session, and we have created a frequently asked questions document, which is also published to the CBAM Europa site. Now, I will give the floor to my colleague Adriana Mahera to provide to you some more answers to the most frequently asked questions of the previous session. After that, she will proceed with the CBAM registry presentation and demo. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Adriana Mahera, and I work for the CBAM team that develops the CBAM Transitional Registry. We will move on to see some of the frequently asked questions from the previous training session that we had. Let's go through all the questions. The first one is what CBAM registry environments are available? So the answer is that there is a production and conformance CBAM registry environment available for the CBAM declarants. The conformance environment can be used as a test environment for a familiarization with the CBAM quarterly report form and the user interface of the CBAM registry. Uh, uh, but please note that you need two accounts, one for each environment, for security reasons. The same email, although, can be used. You can also see the links for the production and the conformance environments in this question, in the answer of this question. And let's proceed. Who can access the CBAM registry as CBAM declarant? The CBAM registry can be accessed by economic operators, which are either importers or indirect customs representatives. The economic operators may delegate their CBAM declarant access to their employees. The next question was who grants access to the CBAM registry? The answer is that the national competent authorities are responsible to grant access to the economic operators that will be acting as CBAM declarants in the CBAM registry. Who can request access to the CBAM registry? Any physical person that can prove that he represents the economic operator can contact the national competent authority of the country where the economic operator is established to request access to the CBAM registry as CBAM declarant. The next question is, until when do I need to be given access? Very important question. Economic operators that will need to report in January of 2024 for the quarter of 2023 should be given access to the CBAM registry by the respective national competent authorities by the end of 2023. Next question, where can I find the NCA contact points to request access? There is the latest provisional list of NCAs for CBAM published at the CBAM Europa site, and you can see also the link here. Let's proceed. We are here. When will CBAM quarterly report submission start? The CBAM quarterly report submissions for quarter 4 of 2023 will start on the 1st of January of 2024. Until then, it will not be possible to start filling in the quarterly reports in production, but instead, you can familiarize with the quarterly report form using the conformance environment. Which fields in the quarterly report form are the mandatory to fill in? The mandatory fields are marked with an asterisk in the CBAM Transitional Registry. Please also consult the declarant's user manual and have in mind that a supporting XLS file will, with the indication of optional mandatory fields will be also published soon. Next question. Where can I find the definitions of the fields to be filled in? The definitions of the CBAM report fields are available in the declarant's user manual, published in the link that you will see below. What is the difference between an operator and an installation? Operator is the third country company running operating the installation. The installation is the factory producing the CBAM goods imported from the third countries. Can I fill in CBAM quarterly reports by uploading an XML file instead of filling in manually the form in the CBAM registry? Yes, there is an upload functionality. An XML file can be used to upload CBAM quarterly reports to the CBAM registry. Once an XML file is uploaded successfully, a new draft quarterly report will be created and can be submitted via the CBAM registry user interface. The XML file contains all the information needed for the CBAM quarterly report, including the third country operators and installation information. Where can I find the template for the XML file to upload? An XSD file that can be used to fill in the quarterly report using XML is published at the CBAM Europa site. Also, a sample file in zip format is available in the same link. When and where will the default values be published? The default direct and indirect embedded emission values will be published in due time in December in this link. This link is also the same for the above question. If the declarant needs to report for multiple importers, can the reporting be done within one CBAM quarterly report? The answer is yes. It is possible for a declarant representative to fill in one CBAM quarterly report that contains several importers. So there is no need for the CBAM declarant to fill in an individual quarterly report per importer. I think that was it. And now we can proceed with the training objectives. So we will, yeah. So in the following slides, we will make a brief introduction to the CBAM Transitional Registry. We will see the CBAM data model. We will talk about the CBAM report state transition diagram. We will see how we can access the CBAM registry. And then we will go through the forms, the different forms in the CBAM system. We will see the homepage. We will navigate into a CBAM report. We will discuss about the available report actions. We will also discuss about the operators and the installations registry that is available for you. There is also a section for the My Importers. We will also briefly discuss the My Profile information and the preferences. And then we will proceed with a demo. At the end of the session, there will be allocated time for questions and answers. So this is the CBAM report data model. What is very important to understand from this model is that the CBAM report has three levels, three nested levels. The first level is the CBAM header, which comprises of all these elements and groups. We have the reporting issue date, which is the date where the report is successfully submitted, the draft report ID and the report ID, which is allocated by the system when, again, the CBAM report is successfully submitted, the reporting period, the quarter, and the year. Then in the header level, we have the reporting declarant and its address, the representative with their details, and the importer. We have also the national competent authority declared in the header level and the signatures. And in every level, there is a remarks section. The header of the CBAM report contains multiple goods. Each good has an item number, a sequential number. Again, there is the representative and the importer details. If the importers and representatives are not common for all goods, then we declare them in the goods imported level. Then we declare the commodity code, that is the harmonized system subheading code and the combined nomenclature code, and the commodity details, which is the basically the description of the combined nomenclature, the country of origin, and then we have the imported quantity per customs procedure, the quantity of the good, and the total emissions that are declared in the emissions level. There is also a section for the supporting documents to attach documents and also give more information about our every good entry. Every good has multiple emissions. And in the emissions, we have the installation operator, the installation and the installation details. These are optional groups. You can see it here. We have also the quantity that is declared for the specific emission in the specific country of production, the direct and indirect emissions, any emissions qualifying parameters, the production method, and the supporting documents with the attachments. There is also a carbon price due section where you can declare any carbon price that is due in the country of production or any other country. Let's proceed. And let's see what are the available states for a CBAM report from the declarant's side. So a declarant can create a report, either fill in the report from the user interface or upload an XML. As soon as this is done, the declarant can save the report as draft, and it is possible to edit and save the draft as many times as needed. When the report is ready and the declarant is ready to proceed with the submission of the report, uh, uh, the report will get in the submitted state, provided that the expiration of the submitted period is not met. So the submission period is still open. While being in the submitted state and the amendment period is open, it is possible for the declarant to actually edit and correct the report as many times as needed. It is also possible, if needed, to invalidate this report. And this is a final state, so no more actions will be available for this state for this report. In order to have access to the CBAM transitional registry, we need to users need to be registered in UUM-NDS with the appropriate business profile. Here you can see once again the production environment for declarants and the conformance environment that we have said previously that it is good to use in order to familiarize with the CBAM transitional system and the CBAM quarterly report. As soon as we type in the CBAM declarants portal URL, the where are you from page from UMDS will appear in our screen. The access is only allowed to importers, indirect customers representatives, and which are registered in UMDS, right? So here we can see that we need to select the domain, which is Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism for us. We select the country, the type of actor, economic operator, for example, the type of ID, which is EORI in case of economic operator, and the ID here will be our EORI. Let's proceed. As soon as we successfully log in, the UMDS will redirect us back to the CBAM declarants portal, and we will see the home page. Let's talk about every item in this home page. The My Quarterly Reports is a table organized per quarters of the year. For each quarter, there might be a CBAM report if you have declared one. This item is related to the installations. You have the possibility to keep your installations in a registry. So this is the menu item, and the same is applicable for the operators. So we have one registry for the installations and one registry for the operators. Note that the installations and the operators are not mandatory to be filled in inside the CBAM report, although we advise you to do it. Then there is the My Importers menu item, where you can see the importers included in the declarant's CBAM reports. And last but not least, there is the profile information, where you can see the information of the logged in user and the reporting declarant information as well. Let's see the screen of My Quarterly Reports. So the user can view CBAM reports organized per quarter. There are no reports If there are no reports and the reporting period is open for submission, then the user can create a report or upload a report. So these are the buttons that you will use in order for you either to create or to create a report via the user interface of the CBAM registry, or to upload an XML. Let's assume that we have created a CBAM report, and now we need to fill in the information in the header level. This is an overview of all the different tabs that are available in the header of the CBAM report. So the first tab that we will see displayed in our screen are the details of the reporting declarant. Then we can move on by clicking in each tab in order for us to put information in. The next tab is the importer, and here we will declare the importer if the importer is common for all goods imported. Then we have the representative tab, and again the representative details will be declared in the header level in case that the representative is common for all goods imported. Then we have the competent authority, where the reference number is automatically filled in, and the signatures tab, which the declarant need to sign the signature and position of the person signing, and then they need to also confirm the data uh, inserted and the data usage. This is the reporting declarant page, where you can see that the identification number, the EORI, and the member state of establishment are filled in from the login details. And you need to select a role. These are the three options. And it is also mandatory, it is not visible here, but it is also mandatory to declare the city. As you can see, all mandatory fields have an asterisk, right? Let's move on. Let's see the importer details. So there are two options here. If the declarant acts as an importer for all goods, then the declarant is able to actually check this box in order for avoiding to enter the same information in this page. In case that the importer is not a declarant, then we need to click on the Add Importer in order to fill in the importer details. The same is for the representative page, where we can either click that the declarant acts as representative if this is the case, or add a representative in order for us to fill in the information and the details of the representative. Let's move on. This is the competent authority page, where the competent authority reference number is automatically filled in based on the country where the declarant belongs to. If it is not filled in automatically, the user needs to contact the respective national competent authority service desk. Sorry. Let's move on to see the signatures. So here we can see that there are there is one section for the confirmation. We need to declare the date of the signature, the place of the signature, the full name of the declarant, and the position of the person signing. And there are two checkboxes here. The first one is to certify that the information provided on this form and attachments is accurate and complete to the best of my knowledge. And the second one is to confirm that the information provided in this CBAM report are to be used and shared between the EU Commission and the competent authorities. All these fields are mandatory for the CBAM report to be submitted successfully. Let's see the header actions. Um, the available actions at the header of the report are depend on the state of the report. Let's see some that are related to the current state of the report. The state of the report is draft here, so we can cancel the view of the report to return to the My Quarterly Report screen. We can click to preview the report. We can also validate the report header. We can save it as draft as many times as needed. And when we are ready to submit the report, we can click on the Submit button. Let's proceed. Since we have already completed all the information in the header level, we need to proceed by adding the goods that we need to declare. In order to do that, we either click on this button, add a good, and there is also the same button in the right-hand side here. If there are goods that we need to delete for some reason or edit, we can edit them by clicking on the pen icon or delete them by clicking on the bin icon. In each good imported entry, we have 4 tabs: the importer, the representative, the goods imported, and the supplementary information. The importer is available if there is no importer declared in the header level. And the representative also is available if no representative is available, is declared in the header level. In the goods imported tab, we declare the CN code, the country of origin, the quantity, the procedures, and more information. And in the supplementary tab, we include any additional information and any attachments that might be relevant for the specific CBAM good entry. Let's proceed. So here we try to explain how the importer representatives works. We declare the importer at goods imported level if importers are not common for all goods imported. The same applies for the representative. We declare them at the goods imported level if representatives are not common for all the goods. In case that the importer or representative are declared in the header level, the corresponding tabs are hidden on the goods imported level. Let's proceed to see the goods imported page. Here we declare the HS code. As we type, the system filters the selected options, the options that match our typing. And the CN code is also filtered depending on the HS code that is already selected. The description of goods is also pre-filled, but editable. You can change it. And we can here we can add new imported quantity per customs procedure, and we also can add goods measure per procedure, quantities for each procedure declared. This is the goods measure imported, so the quantity for the good that we need to declare, and also the goods imported total emissions. The supplementary information has a remarks section in order for us to declare whatever we need to declare here, and we can add supporting documents in order for us to attach or, attachments or provide URLs. Let's proceed with the emissions level. For each CBAM good added in the report, its respective emissions need to be declared. So once we have our good declared, we need to add our emissions by clicking here. The first page is the installations page. Let's proceed. to see all the tabs. We have the installations where we declare the country of production, which is very important. And if we want, we can also declare installations and third country operators. Then we have the emissions tab where we declare direct and indirect embedded emissions for the quantity imported. We have a parameters section where we declare the production methods and the emission qualifying parameters. Then we have the carbon price due to declare any carbon price due. And we have also a supplementary section, which is the same with the goods to add any additional information and any attachments. The calculation model should be attached in every emissions entry. So this is the installation tab. As we said before, the country of production is mandatory. We need to fill it in, but the third country installation operator and the third country installation information are optional. It is also advised to, if we want to declare the operator and the installation, to store the frequently used operators and installations in the registries that are in our account to facilitate the completion of this data in the CBAM report. So now we are in the emissions level, and we can see how we can select from the registry an operator or add the operator details if we want here, and also add many contact persons details. The same is also available for the installations. We can search in the installation registry. We can enter the installations in our report without selecting from the registry. We can, of course, do neither. And we can delete an installation if we don't want to declare it after all. Let's move forward to the emissions tab. So here we have different sections. The first section is the quantities. The quantity that is produced in the specific country of production in this specific installation emissions entry. Then we have the section of the direct embedded emissions, the section of indirect embedded emissions, and the installation emissions. Note that since we are also talking about the electricity, for electricity, the indirect embedded emissions are not available. We only have direct embedded emissions with more elements than you can see here. We will see it further down in the presentation. Here we are. So this is the electricity as CBAM good. And we can see that we have the goods measure, the direct embedded emissions, and the installation emissions. So when we have electricity as CBAM good, the CBAM report contains only direct embedded emissions. Let's proceed to the parameters. This tab contains the production methods and the emission qualifying parameters associated with a specific CBAM good. The contents of this tab vary based on the good selected. The production method is mandatory. The emission qualifying parameters are optional. We can add a qualifying parameter if the ones that are brought in from the system are not to what we are looking for. And we can add also indirect emissions qualifying parameters. Let's move on to the carbon price due tab, where we can add a carbon price in, in case that CO2 emissions have already been paid or their payment is due in other countries. All this relevant information can be filled in here. So we also can add new goods covered under carbon price due. And we can delete also the entire section if we do not want to declare anything. Let's now move on to the supplementary tab. This section is optional. All supporting documents can be uploaded here. For example, the annual installation emissions report, etc. And you can select the other in the type of document for non-classified document types. It is very, very important to validate and save each good imported in our draft CBAM report. So if you see this icon here, it means that your good is not validated. If you press the button validate and you see these indications here, this means that these are the validation errors and how many of them exist in every level. So for example, here we are in the good level, and we can see that there are 3 validation errors, and in our 3 emissions, there are 44. And you can see in each emission how many validation errors exist. Let's move on to discuss about the report actions. The first one is the save as draft. Uh, so once a report has been created, the save as draft button needs to be clicked in order to save the draft report. We can also delete, we have the delete button if we want to delete the saved draft report. Editing of a report is also permitted when the report is in the state draft, under amendment, or under correction. Let's move on. This is the validate option. The report header can be validated by clicking the validate button. I move on. And here, once the report is submitted, the CBAM report, if we press this button, the CBAM report, the CBAM system will run all the validations. And if no error occur, the report status will change to submitted, and an official report ID will be assigned to our report. Now, a declarant can perform changes to the submitted report by selecting the amend action. The report change will state from the submitted to under amendment. And it is also possible when the report is in the submitted state to invalidate the report. Let's move on. The download PDF button is available when the report is in the submitted state. So we can download our CBAM report. Let's move on to discuss a bit about the operators registry and the installations registry. So the CBAM system allows to store information for third country operators of the installation producing the CBAM goods. If we go to the operators registry menu item and we click on it, we will see this page. We can create an operator by clicking on the create operator button, or we can edit or delete an operator that exists in our local personal registry. The same applies for the installation registry. We can, this is the installation page. We can create an installation, edit an existing installation, or delete an existing installation. When we create an installation, we need to fill in an installation ID. This is user defined. It is defined by you. We need also to define an installation name and the country of establishment. And when creating the installation, we need first to have created the operator, because we need to search in our operators registry and link our operator that is related to the specific installation with this installation. So when we click on the search in the operators registry, we can select which operator we need to link with the specific installation to be created. Let's move on. There is also the option to see my importers. This is a list of all importers used in the CBAM reports of a reporting declarant. For each importer, we have a profile information, and there is also the comparison between the goods that are declared in the CBAM reports with the data that are associated from the customs declarations. For each importer, you can view the information by clicking on the eye icon. Let's move on to see how the goods imported page is um, constructed. So we compare here for a reporting period and a specific good and a specific country of origin, the CBAM quantity declared, and the quantity from the import customs declaration. Here we don't have any data, so 0 is indicated. The same information also is grouped by requested procedure. If you press on the arrow here, you can see the information grouped by requested procedure. Let's move on. This is the My Profile information page. As you can see here, these are read-only fields. This is the information of the logged-in user, and this is the information of the declarant. And it is possible to edit the section of the contact details in the profile in order to be updated. Let's move on to see the preferences. The user can select a language of their preference and fill in the default email for the email communication. So please ensure that you fill in the email upon login. The preference, you can find it by selecting here, clicking here on the icon. And this is the page. Let's have 5 minutes break to continue with the demo. So we will now proceed with the demo. Two sectors will be covered, electricity and fertilizer. For the electricity, we will proceed by creating a report and filling in the data in the different forms of the report. And for the fertilizers, we will use the upload zip file functionality that contains the XML. So let me put here my session, and I will now copy um, the trader, the declarant's URL. I will connect in our development environment, which uses UU and MDS. So we will see the whole process of logging in. So here I will, the carbon border adjustment mechanism is pre-filled. I need to select my country. I have a declarant for Belgium, so I will select Belgium. And I will select economic operator. So the type of ID is pre-filled, it is EORI, and here I will use my EORI number, which is not very valid, but we are in the development environment. I give my consent and I press the submit button. I will now be redirected in the EU login page, where I will need to enter my username and also my password. One moment. I will paste my password here. And now I am redirected to the homepage of the CBAM registry. So this is the homepage, and let's proceed to the My Quarterly Reports page. Here, because we are in a development environment, we can see that all quarters are open in order for us to be able to test and create reports. So now we'll press the Create button for the Q4 of 2023, which normally, for the Q3 of 2023, which is normally not available. We'll create the report. And the first thing you can see is that the page of the header, and we have some information here. So this information here is always visible. And we have the available action buttons, as we have said during the presentation. I will insert a draft report ID. Sorry, give me one moment. Okay, this is my draft report ID. And let's fill in some of the details here. Sorry. I will see the information that I need to enter. So my name is Tony Herrera. As you can see, my identification number came directly in, and it is not editable from my login details, as well as my country of establishment. I will select to be a representative for all goods, and the city I am based is Brussels. I will continue in order to declare the importer. So my importer is the name of my importer is Berada Omar. His identification number is MA 0034 789. The country of establishment is Morocco, and the city is Tangier. As I have declared in the reporting declarant details that I will act as a representative for all goods, here I will select this option, Declarant acts as representative. Let's proceed to the competent authority tab, where we can see that our reference number is automatically filled in. And let's proceed to the signatures tab, where we need to fill in all the information required. So today is 30th of November. The place of signature is Athens. My name is Tony Herrera, and I am a CBAM declarant. I certify that, to the best of my knowledge, the information provided on this form is accurate and complete. And I confirm that I know that this information will be shared between EU Commission and competent authorities in accordance to the CBAM regulation. And now I will press the Save as Draft button in order for me to save my report that only contains header information. If I press the Cancel button, I will go back to the My Quarterly Reports screen. why I went here, because I want to show you also the operators and installations registry. I will go to the operators registry. I have two operators here for aluminum and cement, and I will add one for electricity. Okay, my operator ID is MA. The name is electrical wind. The country code is Morocco. And the city is Agadir. Let's fill in also the contact details. My contact person is Amina Ait. The email is info. The email is info at electricalwind.com. And the phone number is this one. I will now press on the create button. So I can see my new operator here. Please note that this is not required to be done from you. It is although advised to do so. And I will now create an installation. I have already two installations that I work with, and I will put an installation for the electricity. So my installation ID is user defined. I will define it is SD SR. This is my installation ID and the installation name, Electrical Wind Agadir. And the country of establishment is Morocco. Yeah. And as you can see here, all the other information is not required. What is required is to link the current installation with an operator. And which one is the right one? This, the first one, the electrical wind operator. I click on to select the specific operator. I press OK, and all the information of the operator came in my installation form. I will now press the create button in order for the installation to be created. And here it is. Allow me now to go back to my quarterly reports page and open my draft report that we have created together. Edit the report. And since I have introduced all the information required here, I will proceed by adding a good. In order to do that, I press in the goods imported, and if I would have goods in my report, they would be shown here as a table, and I press on the add good button in order for me to select my CBAM good. So electrical energy, and the CN code is 00, and here the description is pre-filled. I can, of course, change it. Electrical. The country of origin is Morocco. And let's proceed to discuss a bit all the sections here. So this section is related to the customs declarations because all the information here is organized per customs procedure. The first field is the area of import. There are two options, EU by means of customs import declaration and EU by other means. The first option actually means that there is a customs import declaration for the specific record for the specific good. The other option is related to artificial islands and exclusive economic zones and so on. I will select EU by means of customs import declaration. And here I need to specify the customs procedure that was used in the import declaration. And I will go for the 40, simultaneous release for free circulation and home use. As you can see, because we have selected electrical energy, here we have the supplementary units instead of the net mass. So I will enter the megawatt hours. So the only option here is megawatt hours. One moment. And sorry, where am I? Here. If there are any special references for goods, we need to specify them here. And as you can see, there are also two other sections, the goods measure imported, which is not editable, and the goods imported total emissions. Sorry. Let's discuss a bit all these elements. The goods measure imported is the quantity imported from the specific country of production. So for the specific emissions entry. We cannot, this will be prefilled automatically by all the other information that we will put in the emissions. The goods imported total emissions section has the goods total emissions, which is a calculated field that is the result of the sum of the goods direct emissions, and when we don't have electricity as a good, the goods indirect emissions as well. So now basically what is in the value that is in the goods direct emissions will be also shown here. And the goods emissions per unit of product is used to express the CO2 emissions per measurement unit of the CBAM good. Now we have electricity, so we will have the CO2 emissions per megawatt hour. And the value basically is the result of the goods total emissions divided by the goods total emissions here, divided by the goods measured imported. Let's proceed. Yes, here we have the type of measurement unit that is always tons of CO2 for emissions. Thank you, Maria. And let's proceed to add an emission to our electricity good. So the first page is the installation tab. I will need to add the country of production, Morocco. And although I'm not obliged, I want to declare my operator, the company name of the installation, and I will select it from my registry. And this is the first one is the one that I want to enter. This is my operator for the electrical energy. And I pressed OK, so all the informations are filled in my report with the contact details. And now I will do the same for the installation. Because I have selected the operator, if I search in my installations registry, although I have more installations in my registry, the system will filter out and give me the option that is linked with a specific operator. So I click to select the installation and I press OK so that this information is filled in automatically in my report. Let's continue to go to the emissions tab. So here we need to specify the quantity of the good that is produced in the country of production for this emission entry. Let me see what I need to enter here. Sorry, where is my mouse? Okay, so I have imported 100 megawatt hours, and the type of determination for electricity is actual data in my scenario. There are two options, as you can see, actual data or default values. I will go for the actual data. And we need also to declare the type of applicable reporting methodology. It is either the methodology that is known in the Commission, and in this case, we select the Commission rules, or we actually use another reporting methodology. And for this reason, we need to select the other option. If we select the Commission rules, then we don't need to actually describe anything more regarding the methodology used. But if we select the other option, then we need to specify the applicable report methodology, as since this element becomes mandatory. Let me select the Commission rules. And now we have the type of measurement unit here, and we have the source of emission factor for electricity, the other source indication, and the emission factor, and some more information here: the source of emission factor, the electricity imported, the total embedded emissions of electricity imported, field for justification, and the fulfillment of conditionality. Let me find my mouse. So the source of emission factor is applicable. The source of emission factor has two options here, but we cannot see it because I actually selected the actual data. If I select default values, then the source of emission factor becomes enabled. So there are two cases for electricity, and these are defined depending on the choice that we make in the type of determination for electricity. So if I use default values, then I have the source of emission factor that I need to define, and I have two values normally: the commission based on IEA data and the alternative default value. If I go for the commission based on IEA data, then as you can see, some values are already filled in automatically. The only thing I need to do is to indicate the source of emission factor and also justify how this were, if this was used, why it was used, and if I want to, because this is not necessary. If I go for the alternative default value, I need to indicate the other source indication. I need to justify what kind of alternative default value I have used, and I also need to specify the source of emission factor that I have used. So let's go back to the commission based on EA data, because I want to use default values based on the commission. And I will add here a text. The source is And I need also to select the type of measurement unit, the tons of CO2. So now let's go and explain a bit what are these fields, the electricity imported. So this is the quantity of electricity imported. It is read-only and takes the value declared in the goods measure. So basically, it is again the quantity. The total embedded emissions of electricity imported is the amount of CO2 tons produced for the quantity of electricity imported. So basically, it holds the same information as the uh, total direct emissions. The justification is used to justify the alternative default value, as we said before, used in the emission factor. And the fulfillment of conditionality is used to declare any information related to the actual data declared. So if I use here in the type of determination actual, I need to declare the information related to these actual data. Let's move on. Here I have one production method that is already filled in for me from the CBAM system. And let me put something here, 24, because this is an electricity qualifying parameter that is a test data. And let me validate my good. It is valid. And let's continue to the carbon price due. So here we need to declare the national legal basis of the carbon price scheme, including the implementing provisions, if we have carbon price due in another country. And we need to specify the country code, the type of instrument, describe also the legal act that is related to the type of instrument used, the amount that we have that is paid, and the currency. And depending on the currency, there will be an exchange rate, a baseline exchange rate applied automatically, and the amount in euro will be automatically filled in. And for every carbon price due, we need to, if we select to declare carbon price due, we need to declare also the quantity covered under carbon price due. So what type of product we have? Is it the actual product or other materials? What is the quantity of emission covered? Uh, if this quantity is covered by free allocations, any rebate or levy, or any other form of compensation, the CN code of the product covered, any supplementary information, any additional information, and the quantity of the good that is for which carbon price has been paid. Since I don't want to declare all this information, I can delete the block from my report. Here it is, I delete it. And let's go to the supplementary tab. Here, as we said, we need to specify, first of all, any additional information. And if I need to add any supporting documents, I press the Add New button. And then I need to specify what kind of document will I support. Will it be annual installation report, the annual installation emissions report, the calculated emissions for the reported goods, the legal reference to a national emissions framework, or any other documents. Here we need to put also the reference of the document. We also can specify the issuing authority name, the validity start date, the validity end date, any description, And whether this is a URL, we can specify it here, or choose to add a document that is somewhere locally in our PC or in some central repository that is visible here. I will validate again my good, and I have 2 errors. Oh, yes, of course. I have errors because I have introduced supplementary information, but I haven't put any information inside. And I will delete these blocks. Let me validate once again. And yes, now my good is valid, and I will save it so that it is saved inside my report. Consider the report as an envelope, and the goods are the items inside the envelope. So I can navigate to my header information and again validate the header once more. Okay, and then save as draft. Yes, and I'm confident that I have already put all the information required, so I will submit my report. And now I am back redirected in my quarterly reports page, where I can see that my report for Q3 of 2023 is in the submitted state. I can open it and either download the PDF or invalidate if I want, or perform amendments. Yes, I want to amend my report. And now the state of the report has changed to under amendment, and I can open the report in edit form so that I can do amendments. I will change something in my identification number of the importer, and I can submit or go to my goods imported and edit my good. Here you can see the good that I have entered. This is electricity. I will edit my good, and I will add special references for goods. Some text here. I can validate my good. It is valid. Once again, save it in order to save the new corrections that I have made. And now I need to go to the header level to validate my header once again and submit the amendment. And my report is back in the submitted state. So this was all. I think we have concluded the electricity. One moment. Let's now proceed with uploading an XML for the fertilizer sector. Let me find the XML. Sorry. So let's go through the XML briefly. So this is our Q report. And inside the header, we have the reporting period. This is the quarter. I will report for the quarter, the first quarter of 2023. I can do that because I am in a development environment, as we said before. And this is the block of the declarant details. So this is my EORI. Now I am Natalie Jules. I am importer, etc. These are the representative details, the importer details. These are the national competent authority details, my reference number, where I belong to, where my EORI belongs to, the signatures, the remark sections, and then we go to the imported level, goods imported. This is my first good, the EHS and CN codes, and the description. and the country of origin, the imported quantity per procedure, the measure imported, the total emissions that I have already calculated, the goods emissions. This is the third level of the report. It is inside the good imported. And here we have the installation operator, the installation, the production, the produced measure, so the quantity, the installation emissions, the total emissions of the specific installations entry, the direct emissions, the indirect, the production method and qualifying parameters, and the remarks. This is my XML. It is saved. I have it locally in my PC. And if we go back to CBAM report, let me see where is my, let me find one moment my XMLs. Okay. So if I go for Q1, first of all, inside my XML, I have declared that I want to upload an XML for the first quarter of 2023. If I try to upload it in Q2 of 2023, let me drag and drop my zip file, CBAM report fertilizer zip, and I press OK, there will be an error that says that the quarter does not match. So if I now go to upload in the correct quarter my report, let me find my report again. Okay, and I press OK, and my report is valid. It is successfully uploaded, and we can see that it is already saved as draft in my quarterly reports page. So if we click on the report ID and click on the edit button, we can see our report for the fertilizers. So here we can see the reporting declarant, the importer, the representative, the competent authority, and my signatures. And if we press in the goods imported, we can see our good that is related to the fertilizers sector. So here is my HS code 310520. Should I zoom in? Is it better? Okay. And this is the CN code 10. So the description from Tarek is mineral or chemical fertilizers. My country of origin is India for this specific good. And here I have already declared that my area of import is EU by means of customs import declaration, which means that there is a customs declaration for this specific good in customs. The request procedure is 40. Again, my net mass for this procedure is 100 tons, but because I don't have any other procedure, the goods import the net mass inside the request procedure is the same with the net mass that I have declared in the goods measure imported. Here we have also the total emissions that are calculated from the emissions level. And if we go in the emissions level, we can see again the country of production, the installation, the installation operator, the installation. And if we go in the emissions tab, we can see that we have the same quantity that has been declared under the good, under the procedure, the customs procedure is the same here. So here in this tab, since we are in the fertilizers and we don't have electricity anymore as CBAM good, we can see that we have direct emissions and indirect emissions in our emissions tab. If we go in the direct embedded emissions, basically we have selected actual data. We have also the option to select other methods, including default values. If we select actual data, then we need to specify the specific direct embedded emissions. And here, it is also a possibility to declare the default value that will be published from the Commission. Let's go and see what happens if we select other methods, including default values. Again, we need to specify the direct embedded emissions, and in this case, uh, sorry, with actual data, we specify our actual data, but with other methods, including default values, sorry about that, we specify either the specific direct embedded emission that is based in other methods. So here, in the type of applicable reporting methodology, we need also to select the other option and specify the applicable reporting methodology that has been used in order to declare this number in the specific direct embedded emissions. Or we can use default values that are based in the Commission published data. And in this case, it is good to choose the Commission rules under the type of applicable reporting methodology. So we have two options in the type of determination, and if we select the other methods, including default values, we need to also specify if we use other methods or the default values. And if we go further down in the indirect embedded emissions, what I have introduced in my XML is that I will report actual data. But here there are also the same choices. So if I use actual data and I select in the source of emission factor that I will use the Commission based on IEA data, International Energy Agency data, then what I will need to specify is the electricity consumed, and the emission factor will be prefilled, and the specific indirect embedded emissions will be calculated as a result of these two elements. Now, if I go for actual data and I choose in the source of emission factor the option other, as we can see, the emission factor became editable. So I can now enter my value. And if I enter something here, 6.89, my specific indirect embedded emission has been recalculated to reflect the new values. Let's talk about the fields a bit. So for the indirect embedded emissions, uh, the uh, the emission factor is the element that expresses the tons of CO2 per megawatt hour, because in general, the indirect embedded emissions are related to energy consumption. When this specific CBAM good, which is mixed fertilizers, has been produced in the country of production, which is India. Going back to the emissions. So we have the emission factor. The specific indirect embedded emissions expresses the tons CO2 per ton of mixed fertilizer. The electricity consumed is the megawatt hour per ton of product. So how much electricity has been consumed to produce 1 ton of mixed fertilizer. And that's it. Let's go back to the scenarios. Now I will select other methods, including default values and the type of determination. And as you can see, the logic here is that we don't need to declare any source of emission factor, any electricity consumed, any emission factor, but we need to specify the specific indirect embedded emissions. So what I need to specify? Let me see per the scenario. Um, 2.9. 2.9. And as soon as I enter this uh, value here, the installation emissions have been pre-filled automatically. Let's explain a bit what are the installation emissions. The installation total emission is the sum of installation direct emission and installation indirect emission. Um, the installation direct emission is the quantity of the installation uh, direct emission produced for the particular goods quantity. And the installation indirect emissions is also the quantity of CO2 produced for the specific quantity of the specific installation entry. Let me validate. Let me see what is wrong. The source of electricity is a drop-down list that has 3 options: the direct technical link to electricity generator, the bilateral power purchase agreement, and the received from the grid. Let me save, edit again, and validate. Okay, it's validated. So I will go to the header information and validate the header as well, and save as draft. And I will submit this report as well for the fertilizers. And now I will be redirected to my quarterly report screen, where I will see that my fertilizers Report has been submitted. I can open it, invalidate or amend my report. The state has changed to under amendment. I can see also the history of my report. Sorry. I can see one question that is related to XML upload. Can an XML be uploaded if some data fields are left empty? That depends if these fields are mandatory or not. Of course, the optional fields can be not left empty, but also be absent from the XML. What happens if the CBAM declarant will not be able to obtain actual data by the supplier? The CBAM, I will answer this here, but I don't know if the answer is correct. The CBAM declarant will can be is has the option to declare the default values. So if we go back to the good here, and I go to the emissions, and in the emissions tab where all this information resides, here, for example, in my direct embedded emissions, I have selected other methods, including default values. And I opt for the default values because I use the commission rules, and I used the value that is published in Europa site for India and mixed fertilizers, sorry, not for India, for mixed fertilizers, which is 2.9. This is not true, but hypothetically speaking, this could be the 2.9 specific direct embedded emission. So in the direct embedded emission, I have used the default values published by Commission. I paste this value here. In the indirect embedded emissions, I can go for the default values as well. We have this option here. And this data will be pre-filled as we are now, actual data, but use commission-based data. I have used the data that are available by commission. The production methods are not bound. I can see uh, a question from the chat that says, in case of using default values, do we need to specify production methods and a list of qualifying parameters? The production methods are not bound, are not. There is no logic to link the production methods with the default values. The production method is linked with the good. So, for example, in our case, we have used this good, sorry, the 3105, this is the CN code, 3105 2010, mixed fertilizers. And for this specific good, if we go in the parameters tab, my production method is already defined by the system. It has the code P22 and the title is mixed fertilizers. I don't know if I answer. If I answered the question. So let me save my report. Sorry, I saved the good. I will go to the header information. I will validate my header and I will submit the amendment of my report. The amendment is always available as long as the modification period is still open. As soon as the modification period closes, the report will change state automatically and will go to the registered state. That is all, I think. We can also show the information page that was not in the slides. This is the information menu item. It has three items inside: the NCA list, the CBAM goods, and the legislation. Okay, I can see another question that popped up by Maria. Could you explain the invalidation process? Yes. Um, when our report is submitted, but the submission period has not been closed, we can always invalidate our report. And we can do that by thinking that since the submission period is not closed, I can always create a new report. So what is the case? The case is that I have created a report that is not, it has too many, let's say, errors. Mm. Too many errors, and I need to create a new report. I will conclude here, I think, because we don't have much time, or not, we have time, sorry. If there are any other questions that I can answer here, Maria will show me. Otherwise, I can show you a bit the information page. So let's see the information page. If we press more here, we will see all the competent authorities. So the reference number, the country, and the date that has been created. And then we have the CBAM goods. And it has a structure here. These are the sectors. So for example, for electricity, there is not much to see. We have only one CN code. This is the 2716. But if we go to the fertilizers, here these are the categories of the fertilizers. And if I go to the mixed fertilizers that we used today, this is the category that I have used. We can see here all the CN codes, and by going to the next page, we can view all the CN codes along with the description on the HS level and the description on the CN level. If I go back, we can also see the legislation. And here I am redirected in a different tab in the CBAM web page, where we can find all the information required. And let's go back to the home page. If there are any other questions related to the CBAM IT system that I can answer. Let's go back to our report to explain a bit more the different sections of our report screen. I will amend the report and I will display the report. And let's discuss a bit on how this information is organized here. This is the main window. And here as you can see, we have the report ID because this report is officially submitted. So this is generated by the system. The reporting declarant is uh, here, his full name, the importer full name, if the importer is declared in the header level. The same applies for the representative. This is the national competent authority that the specific declarant belongs to. The reporting period for which this report is declared. The issue date is the submission date of this report and time. The state of the report. How many goods are included in this specific CBAM report, and what is the total number of emissions in this CBAM report, the tons of CO2. I think will installations be able to use the CBAM registry at some point? I think this will be in the definitive period of the CBAM report. I will leave this question to be answered by the back office, the people who are trying to answer all these questions that you write in the chat. So here we can see that for this item, we have distinct information in our navigation tree. This is the navigation tree. So the first thing is one number. What is this number? The number of the good. If we had 30 goods, we would see sequentially our 30 goods listed here. And then we have the CN code and the country of origin, Morocco. Further down, we have the quantity, 100 megawatt hours, because this is our report for electricity, and the associated total emissions in the level of the good. If I press in this good, you'll see that this is, sorry, you'll see that the good became more vibrant in color. And now we can see also the emission that is included inside this CBAM good. And for the emissions, we have also some distinct information. This is the country of production and the name of the installation. If we haven't included an installation inside in our CBAM report, this would be empty, this part here. Okay. Let's go to my importers. I have submitted 2 reports, and since I have submitted 2 reports, I have my importers listed here. I can view the first importer, Paul. This is his profile. The country of establishment is India. The city is Jaipur. Whatever I have included in my CBAM report is mirrored in this page. And here you can see the report for my importer. Sorry. And some information. This is the CBAM declared quantity and the quantity coming from customs import declarations. So you can see it for yourself. What is the comparison of what I have declared with what comes from the import systems? And that would conclude the demo for electricity and fertilizers. We saw the different ways to declare a CBAM report. We have created a CBAM report via the user interface by entering manually all the data. And we have also uploaded a CBAM report using the XML upload functionality. Thank you very much. And I will now give the floor. Hello.
Now we will have 5 minutes break, and we will get back to you with by replying in some of your questions. Thank you. So we are back, and now we will continue with the last part to answer some of your questions. Georgios Kavroulakis from DigiTaxud will now respond in your questions. George?
Hello, everybody. Do I speak loud enough?
Yes,
Yes.
you can hear you well.
Okay, I will just say a few closing words. I see that my colleagues have did a good effort to reply to as many questions as possible in the chat. From what I see, the majority of the questions were not exactly focusing on the subject of this webinar, on the CBAM registry form fill-in. So it was more broad questions about policy and sector-specific questions. Nevertheless, we take account all the questions that we could not answer right now. We'll update the frequently asked questions. Also, you can consult the recordings of the sector-specific webinars we had earlier in September about these sector-specific questions. And also, we will publish the recording of this webinar. I think the demo maybe have answered many of the questions. And yeah, and we'll also publish the slides. Okay, concerning a point that there is some software issue to start the reporting, I would like to say that there is no software issue, but currently the reporting production cannot start until 1st of January 2024. This is a constraint imposed by the CBAM regulation. But we can use the conformance environment to familiarize with the report fill-in and the user interface until 1st of January 2024. And also note that the report of Q4 23 that will be reported in January will be modifiable until the 31st of July 2024. So there is sufficient time to complete this first report. What else about the access to conformance? I saw that some NCA does not want to give access. We will clarify this with the NCAs. You should be given access to conformance if you request it and if you need it. About the installation operators, I saw someone asking if they can have access. They cannot have access in the transitional CBAM registry. This access will be given only at the definitive period system that is still under implementation and design. What else I can say about Germany and Slovenia? Unfortunately, they have not appointed NCAs. As soon as they have appointed it, you must ask them to give you access. There were several questions about default values. We said we will publish the default values. Adriana tried to demonstrate how to fill them in the user interface. And also I have noticed recently that we have added some information about the default values in the frequently asked questions that we published yesterday, I believe. And concerning the XML upload, I believe that it is possible actually to upload an incomplete XML as long as it is structured correctly, and then the draft is created, the draft report is created, and then you can complement it and finalize and validate via the user interface and submit it. And finally, about the declarants, I would like to say that the declarant can be either an importer for all the goods in the report, or it can be a representative that represents and reports for many importers in the one report. not need to have separate reports. And also it's a case, there is a case where a declarant is acting both as an importer for his own goods, but also as a representative for other goods of other importers in the same report. So this was my highlights, what I could say. I hope you found the information provided useful. We have one more last webinar next week for the two remaining sectors. I would like to thank you all for your participation and have a nice evening wherever you are. Good morning, I don't know if you're in another time zone. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining. Goodbye.